fake this relationship is. And things are starting to crumble. And I told you the team been talking. They've been talking. They've been telling me everything. They even tell me who Steve's side bitch was. You know, we put her out. She vegan and she don't wear no panties. You know, Steve Harvey, Marjorie Harvey videos, and people were telling me, they said, you gotta look into Jimmy Townsend. He's out. And I'm like, who is this?
The media is going wild over Tasha K's interview with Jim Townsend, and people cannot stop talking about it. Before getting into Jim's side, there is already a preview of what Tasha K is about to reveal, and it is not light. She is teasing details that sound messy, personal, and hard to ignore. This is not just another interview, it feels like something bigger is about to come out. The energy around it is tense, and everyone is watching closely to see what drops next. If you have been paying attention, you already know about the drama tied to Jim Townsend and the claims he made about his ex-wife, Marjorie Harvey. This situation has been making headlines for a reason, and it is far from a clean story. What is being hinted at involves serious accusations, emotional moments, and a relationship that clearly had deep issues. This is not a perfect image situation. It is layered and complicated, and people are questioning what really went on behind closed doors.
And I know she did it on purpose.
Why you say that?
She got off the pill. I know she was off the pill. And her mother knew it too. See, me and her mother had a bad game. This was between you, Tasha, too.
Tasha K is stepping in with her own findings, and she is pushing hard on what she says she uncovered. The details she is hinting at sound intense, with talk of secrets, betrayal, and actions that are raising eyebrows. What exactly did she find out about Marjorie? That is what has people locked in, waiting to see how far this story really goes. Now, take it back and look at Marjorie's past relationships, because this is where things start getting real interesting. Both Steve and Marjorie have been married before, but her first marriage is the one that keeps people talking. This is where the story starts to shift and the details begin to stand out in a big way. The timeline, the choices, and the people involved all add layers that are hard to ignore. Marjorie was only 18 when she met Jim, and there was a noticeable age gap between them, with Jim being 14 years older and already married at the time. That alone raised questions, but it doesn't stop there. In an interview with Tasha K, Jim shared his perspective, and it brought new attention to parts of the story that had not been widely discussed before. His version adds another angle that people are now trying to piece together. According to Jim, he felt that Marjorie was very determined in how she approached the relationship and strongly pushed for him to leave his wife. He also suggested that she made choices that would deepen their connection quickly. There are claims that she stopped using contraceptives, which he believes was part of an effort to change the situation. These are serious allegations, and they remain part of his account of what happened during that time. Jim ended up fully committed to the relationship, and after about 3 years together, they got married. What started off strong did not last forever, though, because the marriage eventually fell apart after 7 years. The situation shifted fast, and what once looked stable began to break down in a very public way. But the story doesn't stop there. Jim wasn't seen as an average husband, and his name had already been linked to serious activity that raised a lot of concern. People talked about his connections and the kind of dealings he was involved in, and it added a whole new layer to the situation. This was not just relationship drama anymore, it was tied to something much bigger. Then things took another turn when Jim was reportedly caught up in a major case involving a large amount of illegal substances. The reports mentioned around 40 kilograms, which only made the situation more intense. At that point, questions started coming up about who knew what and whether Marjorie had any involvement at all. You might be asking where this gets even deeper, and this is exactly where things start to feel more intense. Marjorie has strongly denied having any involvement or knowledge in those activities, but Jim's interview tells a very different story. He claims she knew more than people think and even suggests she played a key role in what he was doing behind the scenes. That contrast is what has people questioning everything and trying to figure out who is telling the truth. According to Jim, she was not just aware, he describes her as someone he trusted closely during that time. He paints a picture of her being heavily involved, which is a serious claim that adds weight to the situation. He also mentioned that this is only a small part of what he plans to reveal, teasing more details that have not been made public yet. Now the focus shifts to what could come next, because there's a lot of attention building around these claims. The curiosity is growing as people wonder what else might be revealed and how it could change public perception. Up to now, Marjorie has presented herself as a strong and caring figure within her family, especially around Steve's children. And here's where it takes another sharp turn. The description of Jim's book already has people talking, and the wording alone feels intense. He says, quote, "You'll get a front row seat to see what it's like to face violence during my marriage to Marjorie, current wife of actor, comedian Steve Harvey, and greed, and how it can impact someone's life," unquote. That kind of statement is pulling attention fast and making people wonder how much more he plans to reveal. Looking back, things got complicated when Jim was dealing with serious legal pressure. Authorities were paying close attention and started asking questions about whether Marjorie had any connection to what was going on. That moment added even more tension to an already messy situation, with people trying to understand who was involved and who was not. In his interview with Tasha K, Jim made a point to defend Marjorie, saying clearly that she did not know the full extent of his actions. He stood firm on that, even while sharing other parts of his story. But then the timeline takes another turn, because after his arrest, their relationship came to an end in under 5 years, closing that chapter in a way that still leaves people with questions. Before they went their separate ways, Jim made sure Marjorie was financially secure, and the details around that are getting a lot of attention. Reports claim he left behind major assets, including multiple apartment units and even a club. That is a significant amount, and it added another layer to how people view the situation. These claims, often discussed by Tasha K, paint a picture of a relationship that ended with serious financial impact.
She had a duplex. In fact, she got the 16-unit apartment building back. She had
a 16-unit apartment building.
Yeah, we had that. The government took it from me initially. And the Hawaiian Isles.
There are also claims suggesting Marjorie moved on quickly after the split, which has kept the conversation going. The timing and circumstances around that transition are part of what people continue to question. It adds to the overall story, making it feel even more complicated and connected. According to what has been said, her next relationship was linked to someone with a controversial reputation as well. Reports mention a man named Donnell Woods, who was allegedly connected to Jim through family ties. That detail alone raised eyebrows and made the situation seem even more tangled, with overlapping relationships and unexpected connections. At this point, people have started to notice a pattern and are talking about the kind of partners connected to Marjorie's past. There has also been confusion around Lori, with some claiming she might be Jim's daughter, but that is not accurate. Lori is the biological daughter of Marjorie and her second husband, Donnell Woods. That detail clears up a lot of the speculation that has been spreading around. Lori was born years after Jim was already dealing with legal trouble, which places the timeline in a clearer way. After that period, another situation developed when Donnell also ran into serious legal issues. This added even more attention to Marjorie's past relationships, especially as rumors started to circulate about what may have happened behind the scenes. There have been claims suggesting Marjorie may have played a role in how things unfolded for Donnell, but those are allegations that have not been confirmed. Still, the talk around it kept growing and added to the overall controversy. Not long after, Marjorie and Donnell went their separate ways, and she moved on again, which is when her relationship with Steve Harvey started to enter the spotlight. Going back to 1990, that is when Marjorie and Steve first met at a comedy club. At that time, Steve was still trying to build his career and did not have much recognition yet. The situation was very different back then, and their connection did not move forward. As the story goes, Marjorie chose to walk away and go in a different direction at that point. Fast forward to 2007, and everything had changed in a big way. Steve had built a successful career and was in a completely different position in life. When they crossed paths again, things moved quickly between them and they decided to get married. This all happened not long after Marjorie ended her previous relationship, making the timing something that people continue to talk about. In an interview with Tasha K, Townsend shared another detail that caught attention. He claimed that he had spoken to Marjorie just 3 days before her wedding to Steve, saying she said "I do" shortly after. That claim added even more curiosity to the timeline. He also mentioned that she had certain preferences when it came to men, describing how she would pay close attention to specific features when someone approached her. Jim also made a surprising claim about Marjorie's preferences, saying she did not like men with thick lips, which caught people off guard because of Steve. He even said she had a nickname for that feature, calling them soup coolers. That detail quickly grabbed attention and had people reacting because it added a strange and very personal layer to the conversation. Then, the focus shifts to a moment on Steve Harvey's daytime show, where things took a more public and humorous turn. While responding to a question from the audience, Steve brought up a story involving Marjorie's youngest son, Jason. According to Steve, Jason once said, "You ain't my daddy," which caught him off guard. Steve, known for his quick humor, responded in a playful way saying, "Where's this punk at?" and joking that he came in as the one stepping up for the family. The audience laughed, taking it as lighthearted entertainment. However, not everyone found it funny. In his interview with Tasha K, Jim shared that he did not appreciate those comments. He questioned why Steve would say something like that publicly and suggested it might come from a deeper place. That reaction added another layer of tension to an already complicated story, with different perspectives continuing to clash.
He told Steve Harvey one day, "You're not my father. Jimmy Townsend my father," like that. So I guess it kind of pissed me. This Steve Harvey with the interview talking. And so when Jason told him that, it kind of pissed him off. And he told Jason.
As the story keeps unfolding, more attention is being pulled toward how all these different versions are clashing with each other. On one side, you have Jim continuing to share his perspective through interviews and upcoming projects, and on the other, there is Marjorie maintaining her stance and not backing down. That contrast is what keeps people locked in, trying to figure out where the truth really sits in all of this. There is also growing curiosity around how Steve fits into everything now, especially with all these past claims resurfacing at once. Some people are questioning how much he knows, while others believe he is simply staying focused on his own life and career. Either way, the spotlight is not going anywhere, and every new detail keeps adding more pressure to an already intense situation. At the center of it all, this story has turned into a mix of past relationships, public statements, and ongoing speculation that refuses to slow down. With Jim hinting that more information could still come out, people are watching closely, waiting to see what the next reveal might bring. Now, the tension keeps building as people start looking at the bigger picture and asking what could come next. The idea that there may be more details, more personal stories, and more claims waiting to be revealed is keeping this conversation alive and growing. At the same time, there's a lot of focus on how these claims could impact reputations moving forward. Public figures are always under a microscope, and when stories like this resurface, they tend to bring old headlines back with them. That's exactly what's happening here, with past events being re-examined and discussed all over again. What really keeps people hooked is the uncertainty around what is fact and what is simply one person's version of events. Different voices are saying different things, and the full picture is still unclear. As more interviews, reactions, and possible releases come out, this situation is only getting more attention, and it doesn't look like it's slowing down anytime soon. Now everything is reaching a point where the pressure is higher than ever, and people are waiting to see if any solid proof or new details will finally come out. So far, a lot of what has been shared comes from personal accounts and interviews, and that leaves room for debate. Some are fully convinced by what they hear, while others are questioning every claim and looking for clear evidence to back it up. There is also a growing spotlight on how quickly stories can spread and take on a life of their own. Social media, interviews, and online discussions are pushing this narrative forward at a fast pace, and every new comment adds another layer. That kind of attention can shape public opinion in real time, making the situation feel even more intense and unpredictable. At the center of it all, the biggest question remains the same. What is actually true and what is being exaggerated? Until more verified information comes out, people are left piecing things together from different sides. One thing is clear, though. This story has captured attention in a major way, and everyone is watching closely for what happens next. At this stage, the spotlight is not fading at all, and the conversation keeps getting louder with every new mention. People are revisiting old interviews, clips, and statements, trying to connect every detail and spot anything that might have been missed before. It is turned into a full breakdown of past and present, with each piece adding more intensity to the situation. There's also a noticeable divide in how people are reacting. Some are siding with Jim and taking his claims seriously, while others are defending Marjorie and questioning his motives. That split is what keeps the discussion active, because no clear answer has settled things yet. Every opinion seems to push the story in a different direction, making it even more unpredictable. What really stands out is how this situation keeps evolving instead of slowing down. With the possibility of more interviews, responses, or even that book release, the story still feels unfinished. Right now, all eyes are on what comes next, because any new detail could shift everything people think they know about this entire situation. So now, the big question is still hanging in the air. Is Marjorie Harvey really following a pattern like some people claim, or is she being misunderstood while standing on her truth? That is what has everyone talking, and opinions are all over the place. Some believe the accusations, while others feel there is more to the story that has not been fully explained yet. The debate is not slowing down, and it keeps getting more intense as new details come up. What do you think about all of this? Drop your thoughts in the comments and let it be known. Make sure to like, subscribe, and share this with others who are following the story, and stay tuned for the next update, because this is far from over.